Okay, this video is just to update everybody on the 2000 Dodge Ram 360 that we're working on. Um, well, it's running now. We got it all figured out. To start out and recap, uh, the primary issue was I went out to start it one day and it ran for a second and just shut off. Well, as it goes, when I first got the truck needed a computer. It had a checksum error in the codes, and usually when that happens, it's a computer failure problem. That's an issue within the computer, which is pretty common with these trucks. Um, got that fixed. Drove it for a while, a long time. Then went out to start it this winter, and it started up. He walked in the house, came back out, and it was dead. Wouldn't restart. He called me up. We go up there, and I see that it's cranking over. It's firing, but when it's firing, the motor it's going the wrong way. Say it's supposed to crank this way, but what it's doing is the cylinder's getting to the top just before it's supposed to, and it's firing. It's sending the motor back the wrong way. Well, we grabbed it. We pushed it into the garage. We start looking first and foremost, and we seen it had a distributor. We didn't understand how the ignition systems on these trucks worked, so my first thought is distributor when I see one. Well, lesson learned. We got the cap and rotor and swapped all that out. Then we decided that we were going to try and tune the truck with the distributor. So we're twisting the distributor, and we can get the truck running, but it don't sound like it's fixing anything. Hooked a timing light to it, seeing that the light wasn't moving, or the line wasn't moving for the distributor, and we also noticed there was no vacuum or centrifugal advance. That's when we figured out that the truck's advance system is solely done through the computer. Well, something has to be telling this computer to advance the timing. So we went from there, did the timing chain. Timing chain had some slop to it. Didn't fix the problem. So we decided to go crank sensor, swap the crank sensor out. That didn't fix nothing. So we got to the point where we were like, all right, I'm going to get it down to a shop. Someone said something about a crank can collation that had to get done. Now, the first issue we had was nothing changed. Nothing changed with the truck other than, nothing changed with the truck when it died. Nothing had changed, like physically moved or nothing. That's why we went with the timing chain first, because if it wore out, it could have changed. Also noticed when we were working on that one of the coil wires was broken. Well, not broken, but it was severely corroded. Someone had already repaired it once and just taped it, and that was whooped. So we stripped it back, got it together better, taped it up. We checked timing on the spark, and the spark was strong. We get anywhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch pulled back on a spark tester. So it was a very strong spark. We checked fuel pressure. We had 40, 45 pounds that we were supposed to have. Injectors were working. Every cylinder was wet. A couple times it actually flooded out when we were when we were cranking it over, trying to get it to fire. So we decided to take it to go get the fuel sync done. Well, twisted the distributor, because you could mess with the distributor and get it to start, but I think that was solely on a fluke. Got it to start, brought it down to the shop. Now the shop's going through everything that we did. Specifically my buddy was doing the timing chain, trying to say this was out, and that was out, and this is out, and that was out. Nothing was wrong with it. They said they did the fuel sync. Dave got out on the road with it, said it was all fixed, handed him $1,000, and the truck was doing the same thing it was doing when we pulled into the shop. So that was severe frustration. So we decided to throw it up in the garage. And I'm going through every logical thought that I could possibly have. And it's like, okay, computer. We had a spare computer. We decided to plug the computer in and threw a set of jumper cables on it from the negative ground because you're supposed to ground the casing on them. And it did the exact same thing. Went from there, decided, okay, well, if it's getting an improper signal, we'll check the wires. So we just did a wiring harness swap. The wiring harness we got was from a California emissions truck. So we were not going to be able to, we found out we're not going to be able to continue to use that wiring harness for going back to the original, just for like the O2 sensors and stuff like that. But it didn't change anything with the truck. So now we were down to, we either got two faulty computers. We send the one computer back because it's got a lifetime warranty. Cam sensor, or coil pack. As I said, the coil pack had a strong spark. Well, we were running out of places to go, so Dave decided to go get a coil pack. Threw the coil pack on the truck, got in it, turned the key, truck started. Now, the only thing that we could figure happened was one wire going to the coil is a 12-volt wire. The other wire is a signal wire. The signal wire was the one that was broken. So we thinking that when it was corroding, right before it finally broke, when we found it was sending an improper signal back to the computer, or it was loading up the coil, causing something burn out in that coil. It wasn't that it wasn't sparking. It was that something, the signaling part of it was burnout. Now there's other issues because the fuel sink's out once again because of everything was set with the bad coil on there and everything. It's been a nightmare. But Dave's switching it back to the old wiring harness now, the original one. The truck's got a new timing chain, a new coil now, new cap, new rotor, all sorts of new stuff. But just for information's sake, these trucks, this one, like I said, was a 2000 Dodge 1500. It has non-California emissions. Had roughly around 175,000 on it. 360, 5.9 if you don't know, the 360 is 5.9. If you run into this problem where you're getting to the end of your rope, and it's similar to this one where it's trying to cause it to fire backwards or whatever, it wouldn't hurt to think illogically about it, because that's what it took us to do. We replaced a part that we thought was working properly. It showed signs of working properly, but apparently it wasn't working properly. So that's an update. Thank you to everybody that helped, giving us ideas here and there, and that basically just kept our heads going because we were at this for weeks trying to figure it out. But we're going good now. Any updates, I'll let you know. And thanks a lot, guys. Have a good evening.